you for those who still sitting here at the end of the day. Hope you are not too tired. In fact, maybe one of the challenges to be target, like time target, not to be person out of this whole thing. So I'm going to talk about basically a very simple subject matter. In all area. So this is about chaos and order, right? Which is very common word, mostly we talk about. And there are two parts in my presentation. First would be something related to the idea of chaos, order, what it is, and how it is seen in architecture and urban space, and understanding the urban space, and meanings possible in architecture, and ideal and non-ideal structures, and the second part to share some of my works that I got involved with on my design team on revitalizing space, urban space through urban design exercise. So chaos and order. So the photos you see on your right side, top, you know that exactly it's very chaotic situation. You don't know what it is, how to, even anybody, the electrician, who comes there to fix any problem, it's very difficult. And the middle is again somewhere like, now these pictures are very common to all of us. Like, it might have taken from somewhere else like India or Bangladesh, some maybe from Colombo. The last one, the black and white picture, New York. It's total chaos, right? As you see, you never think that it was like that. Now it's very ordered city, though it was at that time. So chaos is a state of utter confusion and disorder. You don't understand any pattern, any rhythm, any order. There's no any organization. It's confused and disordered mass. So what is order? I think most of you maybe know very well about order, so you have to be properly behave, plan your works, and things are being trained here. So order is things following one after another, methodological and homogeneous arrangement, represented by the ideal mathematical form sometimes, like squares, rectangles, triangles. These are very ordered forms that has very clear shape and clear understanding what it's all about, that through our experience we know. A picture showing that same number of dots, right, placed. One top is the disordered or the chaotic pattern. Ordered dots are organized in chaotic pattern. The low one is chaotic dots are organized in a very formal and ordered pattern of dots. So I'm not a mathematician, right? So don't think so, and don't expect anything more than this that I'm saying. But there's a thing called chaotic theory, chaos theory, right? So that to understand scientists, that's a kind of branch of mathematics that people try to understand. And try to define things that cannot be predicted, things are not going along a routine manner, particularly due to any flood situation, any environmental hazardous situation, any financial problematic situation, any population change situation. So try to see that whether any formula can be found to understand this as a theory. In fact, this is again tells about order as well, because without order you would not be able to understand. So the formula that has come here is, so some factors are there. Here the K factor is 1.35, that gives different, that generates different result. If it is different like 2, it gives a chaotic sequence of this whole process that is taken. But this is just for us to understand, if you want to read more and you know more about this chaos theory, that it would be interesting. I also would like to study more about this, but it wasn't clear that there's a... So this kind of thing, is it visible in architecture? Because I'm an architect, so I would like to talk more about architecture as well as the spatial plan, like the urban plan or urban. So does have application in design. Now look at few examples here. We have to refer that top one and below one. Again, the top right, below right. So top ones are very chaotic, like it's very difficult to understand any pattern. Right? You see that these are like examples, one in Egypt, other in Rio de Janeiro. But the bottom ones are a bit closer when you look at really, particularly the Rio de Janeiro one, like you begin to see a kind of pattern and kind of order. Right? And you really see that in a circular area, the streets are following, terraces are going on up, and in others, houses are placed. Again, this one, from far it is very difficult, right? Cannot understand anything. But you know, if you close look at, you begin to understand certain rhythms, certain patterns, certain orders. Going further onwards, like many of us, we know that sometimes different countries have tried very spatial patterns. Here you see the Copenhagen, Denmark suburbs, has come up with complete ordered setup. It's very circular, very perfect. And further down here, the question is like whether these are really good places. I mean, can be, or is something missing there, right? Because these are a lot of planning and a lot of technological inputs are there. But at the same time, so these two are same in Beijing, China. One is a very ordered development, housing area. You see all exact, same width and all, windows placed. Right side is the old area of the same area. That has been chaotic. Roofs are different, colors are different, but we have to understand that which one we would like to live, which is better in terms of aesthetics and culture and humanity. So few sayings. I think art itself an attempt to bring order out of chaos. So you need art here. All great changes are preceded by chaos. Chaos is often breeds life when order breeds heaven. So when you have more freedom, you go towards chaos. And if you have a more ordered environment, you become slave. It says, like some people have said about this. Right? So if you try to see the same thing in architectural form, you see that this is a very interesting building, the castle, but still it is chaotic in terms of various forms, colors, different shapes, and cupola, one tower, there's a tower, other side, but altogether there is certain order as well. So therefore we can admire that. Right? We can still order and still chaos is there. Now this famous church, cathedral, by far it is, there's some number of towers and both are. But going to the details, my God, it's very chaotic. What these sculptures are like made out. It's not very sort of human scale sometimes. The shapes are not very good. There's a resort. Now this one is from Vaunia. Quite nice. Like these are built by not architects. These are like temple masons, like who are living in these places, these areas. It's quite old building, but it's chaotic in a way. But certain order also is maintained. Building heights are there, openings, lines. So that means we have to see that whether a meaning is possible in architecture without being representation only, because that is the way that we are going mostly right now. We know that memorizing of place or building, right? That has happened through various times in various ways. As we know that Greeks and those periods are very good in like detailing and nice carvings and proportions, all this there. So therefore that they are more memorable for us. So you see that some factors, balance, rhythm, good proportion, climate, harmony, these are some factors affecting on the good form of art. that can be memorized. But question is, now are these architecture creating any kind of meaningfulness? Like, it is outside, like once you look at that, it's very, you begin to question yourself, and maybe your attention is taken. At the same time, if you go further down, further look into details, sometimes, building upside down, like, does that mean, right? A building like I think Hashim is knowing that Chrome Museum in by Libeskind in Toronto, that I took that one time from nearby building. But these are spectacular things, but at the same time, like one in Sahadid thing, like that was spoken in different ways, and so it's a question. Like we need to see that how that can help us. Whether so in that case, are we going through the works with too much of chaotic or too much of order, right? Should there be a balance? Can understand it with the aesthetics and meaning? So these are major questions that we need to ask. So with that, I think we need to understand about the space, because I want to say again here that architecture without space, there's no architecture. Architecture means creating spaces. There's no any other way that you can define architecture. So that has been done. So space has a lot of different meanings, like going to mathematical space, physical space, and then behavioral, territorial space, and all these things. But the question is that is the separation exterior from the interior. So I personally believe that interior, right, is something coming from architecture. Right? I know that it's my personal belief, but interior design, interior architecture, interior, all different disciplines have been now developed. But if interior is done by somebody else, what architect is doing, right? So there are various theories. Space, as an enclosure, you can see, different composition of the interior. The space has a mental construction, like the same church building, two different approaches. Up there is a modern church. Down which is the old one. And so geometric order and chaos exist all together, right? Architecture together. You can see the St. Peter's open space that is very formal. It's very kind of harmony, very classical beauty is there. At the same time, the small plaza, right? That also has certain appreciations, even though there's no any order much that. So some other examples. Left side is some towers have been constructed with historical times. It said that about 75 towers have been constructed in this place. Right side again in Manhattan. So we have ideal and non-ideal structures that we try to begin to talk about and think about that from the start. So ideal structures are very clear, like starting from historical times, colonial works, all these places we have these ideal structures coming down. There's a stage that people start to begin that we need to go out from this very formal, rigid, kind of approach. Mies van Rohe and Robert Mies van Rohe actually came up with the idea of less is more, and his buildings, they were very rigid and very simple architecture. But again, like there was another thought coming at less is boring. And then the later times, after modern days, recent times, some architects are Daniel Libeskind, Frank Gehry, and all they followed mainly inspiration taken from the chaos. So their forms, their buildings are more chaotic into that. So is there any self-organization process also happening here? So that's interesting to see that in some of the research works that we try to, through the research work, to try to understand that. Even though we see that the square, but realistically what we see right through our eyes, we see some sort of a chaotic situation. Like we are trying to graph, like on the right side, this is some plants in elevation. So elevation, ideal or the original one is the middle, but what you see, what you really coming to your mind, how you perceive that is through that kind of graphic. So in this part, I'm going to conclude that there must be a sort of balance between order and the chaos is very, very necessary. So that we need to see that how we take through with this. So I'd like to present to you some of the pictures of project that I worked with my team. This is urban sort of improvement program that the University of Sri Jawaharlal. This project is just finished actually. Some parts are like still carrying out little things. So it's about revitalizing of the about 1 kilometer of the length of a street front of the university to make it more sort of more cohesive environment. So this is the kind of zones that we divided into several zones. From the main road, that is from the junction, the high level road, up to the university. So there was different segments. So what is completed now is segment C and D. So various urban design studies we went through. Like I don't think that we should get into details. The concept what we try to do is the creating of an active interface between the university and also the village or the outside. So some visualizations how we want to do this, and later on I would like to bring here like order and chores. Like here you can see that plans certain order also there, but at the same time some angular areas, spaces, some elements which are not following the exact symmetrical or the parallel lines or parallel building lines here. So this is sort of what is done now. This is about like taking more land from the street, like the university has given about 5 meters, certain places 4 to 5 meters land to the street, and to make very street friendly, and also the students and people can be in this place and they sit and do various works. There are certain disordered areas like chaotic, what we call this bit of chaotic arrangements that we try to introduce here. And even these things like suddenly you see that certain paving patterns differently organized to make sort of to break the kind of boring situation there, like it's very long. And these are some structures that we introduced here. It's a bus terminal. There, the students also get. So there's a large compound, or not compound, it's a plaza-like thing. At the front of the gate, 2 gates have been created. So that is for the activities of the students. So I think right now students have been using this thing, like they have put up a kind of, the hut, and they are doing all these, their propaganda works and all. So this is being used. So we use like various elements, like some sort of pots, plant pots, at the front, like that, following, conserving of 2 pillars here, bringing the entire thing, the gate, into the back side of the university. So during the night, it's well illuminated, and I think nicely used by the students and as well as the people in the town. So that's basically my presentation. Thank you very much, and I will answer any questions if you have.